46.
Do you support Trump?
You know, when you asked that question about if they voted right now, would you vote for Trump? And I think I would. I voted for Kamala though.
Okay. You voted for Kamala Harris, but you think you made the wrong decision?
I about a year. It's been about a year since the vote, right? About how long? About maybe a year and a half, and something has changed, like for some reason with me, and has made me feel a little bit more Trump, I guess.
Okay.
But
What makes you think that?
I voted left. Well, so besides, I guess a lot of it was more. I'm a Caucasian white male, right? And I have a family that got a couple kids, and I've always raised them to be very, not to see color or anything like that, and just I don't know, man. In the last year, like I just like the whole Carmelo Anthony thing, reading all the comments, and just seeing how much white people are hated by other groups. I feel like it's almost like important for me to not vote for Kamala. Does that make sense? I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I'm on here right now to keep getting to
What? Wait, I'm sorry. Do you see more hate towards white people or black people in this country?
I've been seeing, well, as far as like on
Really?
social media.
Really? Wait, do you think there's more hate towards white people or black people in this country?
I guess maybe in the realm I've been in, I guess. Maybe in the algorithms I've been in, I guess. Maybe.
Okay, maybe those algorithms, but objectively speaking, there's more harm targeted towards black Americans in this country because of the fact that they're black than white Americans because of the fact that they're white. Do you agree? So would that be a reason then to vote for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump?
So the only reason the reason I was saying Trump is because I know Trump is thinking about not Caucasians as well, instead of just.
You don't think
like,
Kamala Harris
minorities.
thinks about people who are white?
I don't. I guess maybe I can't answer that. I guess I don't know for
So
sure.
let me run the whole thing back on you. Kamala Harris is married to a white man.
Yeah.
Therefore, she can't be racist against white people.
Fair. I
Right?
guess.
Impossible.
I
Okay,
mean,
so she's definitely thinking about them, right? Because she's married to a white man, right?
Okay, we can say that, but at the same time, you can see where like moments like where I'll give you an example. Like let's say like a judge that's black that lets out that it goes easy on another black person because he's black.
Wait, I'm sorry. That was the only reason I'm using that is because that was the only argument used against other people. But the point that I'm making is that, like, genuinely speaking, like, what would be your basis for saying that she wouldn't care about what affects white people? That makes no sense to me at all.
Well, I just not that she doesn't care at all, but I feel like that we need a little bit more of a representative for the Caucasian group as well.
Well, Trump is orange,
right
so
now.
I don't know if that's your representative then.
Good point. Good point. But I mean, I'm just being kind of honest. I'm just trying to get like I'm telling you, I've voted left all my life. But
so you need a white representative? Right? Hasn't like every candidate except for literally Obama been white? Why do you need another white representative?
Well, fair. But and the reason I'm saying this now is I feel like we've done like an overcorrection and with minorities, black people, feminism.
No, literally, we have one black president. And you're like, okay, too much, okay.
No,
we overcorrected.
I'm not
like,
saying that.
What are you talking about? You literally said we need a white leader because
I didn't.
Because we overcorrected. What overcorrection did we do?
No, I didn't say that. I said we needed somebody that's going to be fighting for the white people. Is what I said.
Someone who's going to be fighting for white people. Okay, why?
Yes.
Why do we need someone that's going to be fighting specifically just for white people?
Okay. You don't think that we like the hate for white people is growing?
No.
Have you not noticed that?
I haven't experienced it at all.
Really?
Nope, never once. Never once in my life have I ever been disenfranchised because I'm white in public. Not a single damn time. Never one time in my life have I felt disenfranchised simply because I'm white.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Like I said, I was going off of algorithms, and let me give you an example. I got a video, and it's this black guy disrespecting a white woman for like no reason, and there's like about 1.5 million likes, and about another 300,000 of them agreeing and saying, yeah, violence towards white people. I mean, that's a large number.
Okay, all right. So
number.
How about this? Can you say you disagree with people who are calling for violence against people while simultaneously not branding all people who are non-white as that? That is like so sick to see one video's comment section and to generalize the entirety of individuals who are non-white simply because you saw a comment section of people saying that. What about all the racist ass white people that call for the deaths of people who are black all the time, that call for the deaths of non-white people all the time? Do you use that as a generalization to then brand all white people?
I'm just saying in my algorithm, and that's I'm talking a million.
No, I'm asking you the question. Would you brand all white people that way?
No, I don't see it like that because I don't see them talking. I don't see them as violent as the black comments.
What?
I promise you, I don't see.
No, shut the fuck up,
serious.
dude. You don't see them as quote unquote violent as the black. Are you serious? When white supremacy has been perpetuated in this country to continually cause violence towards black Americans repeatedly in this country, slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, right, the continuation of literally mass incarceration in this country to disenfranchise people who are black in this country, with the explicit reason of targeting people who are black in this country. Talk about over-policing, talk about overcorrecting, over-policing. We can talk about that in the very first place and how that is perpetuated racist outcomes, right, targeted towards black Americans in this country based upon things that were put into the context of law specifically to go after people who are black. For example, people smoke the thing that I use on a daily basis, and or W drug every single day, or that I use every single day, right? They do that. White people and black people do it at the exact same rate. But proportionally speaking, black people are arrested and convicted of it 4 times at higher likelihood because they're over-policed. Not because they're doing it at a higher rate, because they're over-policed. Do you realize the distinction of how specifically the context of these systems has been used to disenfranchise black people in this country? And the fact that you'll sit there and be like, oh, I'm only going to care about the fact that there were some people that said mean things to me online because I'm white. And that's going to override all of the history of this country that is engaged in violence and disenfranchising black people in this country. People who are black still get lynched in this country. What are you talking about?
Let's hold on, man. You're grandstanding here.
No, I'm not. It's sick for you to say some disgusting bullshit like that. No one should act like that's totally okay for you just to say that.
What did I say that was sick? What did I say that was so sick?
Do you want me to play it back? What did I just have to respond to? What did I just have to respond to?
I just said that there's a lot of more hate going towards more white people these days, and it's growing.
That's not the only thing you said.
I'm bringing that up. What else did I say?
You said that black people engaging in comments were more violent.
Yes, they're more.
Right? You were trying to brand and generalize black people as being violent.
The comments that they're making are more violent than the people that are white.
Objectively not comparative to literal. Hello? You said that you were going to look at a few comments in a comment section to then generalize people who are black as a whole. Okay, so then let's look at the KKK. Let's look at the white supremacists, right? The people that specifically call for violence against people who are black. And let's look at that. And let's also look at the history of the actual disenfranchisement and violence targeted against people who are black because they're black. And you do not see that same history when it comes to people who are white being targeted because they're white. What are you talking about? You can unmute yourself and respond. This is so nuts.
Do you think they have a right to come back at us as like double time now all of a sudden? Because that's how it feels.
What does that even mean? What do you mean? You're getting what specific way are you being got at double time? What the does it even mean?
Okay.
You're still what?
So they're so okay. So because of what happened in the past and stuff, they're coming after us tenfold now. It's
okay. What makes you think black people are coming after you?
Even though we had nothing, because I told you, there's in my algorithm, it seems like almost every single one of them hate us.
Okay, so you're trying to brand all black people as, oh, they hate all white people. Okay, what you're doing is you're literally generalizing based upon this.
I'm not.
Listen,
I'm not saying
that's exactly what you just tried to say. You just generalized black people.
No,
you just did.
You're generalizing.
No, you did.
You are. I'm just saying.
What are you talking about? I did. You just did. You just did that. Don't gaslight me.
I'm giving you an example. Is what I'm doing.
Dude, I'm telling you, your algorithm is stuff that's going to make you angry because that's going to get you to look at it the most. Okay, you engage with that content the most because you're looking for things that are going to make you angry, and you literally are going to watch that the most because it's made you angry, and the algorithm's going to keep giving you that. Okay, that's not actually showing that it's prevalent within society. That's showing that you're just obsessed with people being rude to white people for some reason, right? Like that's what you're obsessed with. And then like you're gonna keep looking for that in the algorithm, and then now you're gonna use that as a generalization towards people who are black, which is absurd and ridiculous. And by the way, you would never do that for people who are white. You would never.
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't. Okay, then are you going to generalize people who are white based upon the KKK?
No, of course not. That's a small amount.
That's what I thought. Exactly what I'm saying. You see
I don't even hear about it anymore.
You see what I mean?
I don't even hear about that.
He said, why would I generalize white people based upon that? That's a small group of people. How can I generalize white people based upon that? But now I'm going to generalize the entirety of the black community based upon a few comment section TikTok posts that I saw in the comment section, and I'm going to generalize all black people because I saw this, because my algorithm literally keeps reproducing this content because that's all I engage with.
Okay, fair enough. All right, but I'm just giving you a concern. I'm just letting you know that it's something that changed me. Seeing how they like responded to the Carmelo Anthony, how people agreed with that, and how they were like they're calling for violence towards white people. It's concerned me, and that's all I'm saying. And it's made me kind of move to the right a little bit because
Okay,
of it.
okay.
I
How about
apologize
this? Oh, watch
for
this. Watch
feeling
this.
that way.
So hold up. You don't want to be on the same side as people who call for violence against others, right?
Correct.
Okay, so then why do you support Trump even though he called for the deaths of some Democrats because they said to follow the law and to not follow unlawful orders?
The only reason I would say that I would go for Trump would be because he'd be the only one that would be fighting against what I'm talking about.
What? He directly himself called for the execution of some Democrats because they said to follow the law and to not follow unlawful orders.
Yeah.
You said you do not want to be on the
Terrible.
same side as people who call for the deaths of other people. I gave you an explicit example of how the guy you're supporting right now, it literally calls for the deaths of other people. And then you're like, I still support him, actually.
No. Listen, I wouldn't really support Trump. I would rather somebody that would obviously come in but also smarter, kind of get more in the middle. But I'm just saying, as of right now, if I had the option, I would do Trump because of the way I'm feeling.
But yeah, he called for the deaths of some Democrats. Kamala Harris didn't do that. Kamala Harris didn't do that. So what's terrible about Kamala Harris? Did she ever call for violence?
I hope not.
No, she didn't. She didn't call for that violence.
I voted
in any of those situations that you be referencing.
No, I voted for her, so I hope not. I'm just giving you something.
So then why would you vote for Trump over Kamala Harris if you agree that you don't want to be on the side of people literally who call for the deaths of individuals?
Well, then I think the other thing too was the other thing I said earlier was about the immigration too, about making sure that we're, obviously, especially with the way people are feeling towards America, letting in a lot of people, immigrants right now, is probably not the smartest thing to do. And so I think Kamala.
I think we should let in more immigrants.
Would have let more in.
Yes, we should let in more legal immigrants. Absolutely.
You don't think legal? Yes, I agree.
Yeah, that's what Kamala Harris wants to do. Kamala Harris wants to make the legal process go quicker.
I don't know. You think she would have shut down the border like Trump did, though?
The bipartisan border bill would have done that. And, by the way, if you think that there was a border crisis under the Biden administration, how do you feel about Donald Trump undermining a bipartisan border bill that would have effectively addressed the conditions at the border while the border crisis is going on? So he allowed the border crisis to continue under your view.
I would have loved to see that go through, actually, and so we could see what would have happened instead of just being so ISIS and obviously just cutting everything off. I agree.
Okay, so then, do you blame Trump for the border crisis then?
Well, not now, because there really isn't one, right?
No, you blame him for the border crisis given that he undermined the bipartisan border bill. And he hasn't got a bill since he got back in office.
I blame him for the immigration, not being reformation wasn't there. Obviously reform wasn't done. I blame him for that, yes, because it wasn't done.
Okay. Is there anything Trump could do that would get you to stop supporting?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's not like I fully support this guy. I'm just saying I probably would vote for him right now because of the way I've been feeling, mostly because of social media. But yeah, of course he could do a lot of stuff.
Okay, but like what? Can you give me any specifics?
Man, the guy's a joke, man. He's embarrassing America all the time. He could do all kinds. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of him, but when it comes to my concerns right now that I just noticed, that's kind of I know it's like growing. I feel like he would be the person to fix that. That's all I'm saying.
He'd be the person to fix what?
The concern that the hate towards white people that I've been noticing more.
If anything, wouldn't he cause more hate to white people because he's a white person doing really bad things?
I think a lot of this stuff that I think these people hate us about is like stuff that's already happened, not stuff that's happening now.
What? You understand that it's still being perpetuated to this day? What are you talking about? And what do you?
Well, obviously
what do you mean?
the immigration. And
also, why are you trying to make this type of idea that this is the biggest issue to address in the country is the hating of white people? Well, actually, you think that's the biggest problem in this country? Not Trump literally engaging in racism from the Oval Office? Not Donald Trump literally being a held civilly liable abuser? Not Donald Trump literally protecting P3DOs in the Epstein files? Not Donald Trump literally allowing for them to get rid of the limits on forever chemicals that cause cancer?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. But I guess what I'm saying is that was my main. That's kind of in my main front right now because of my social media, I guess. And it's just it scares me. And the way I've raised my daughter, it's almost
scares you. That scares you, but not all of the other things I just mentioned.
Well, I think we're gonna be. I'm gonna be. I'm going to be running into more immigrants and black people in my life than what you're talking about. So I don't know about
What is that
pedo
supposed to
stuff.
mean?
I would rather we were all getting along and not hating each other instead and feeling like that. So like all of a sudden now
What are you,
when
dude?
I'm out,
Okay, so
I'm
wait,
telling
do you think you're at risk around immigrants and people who are black?
I honestly think people like my daughter might be at risk. Yes, absolutely.
Why?
Because there's been
Why specifically immigrants and wait? Why specifically immigrants and people who are black?
Because they're angry at white people for being colonizers. I don't know whatever they're thinking.
Okay, so the whole argument you're making that like your kid is going to be more at risk with immigrants and people who are black, literally just because of the fact that there is literally historical acts that white people have engaged in that are horrible, that people condemn, that think are bad, does not mean they hate all white people, right? Secondly, it does not mean your kids are at a risk. And the idea that you have this in your head, that they're at a risk, is perpetuating racism. I hope you understand that. So the very hate that you're trying to fight against in the first place, listen, the very hate that you're trying to fight against in the first place, yeah, I need to mute you because you have like background noise. The very hate that you're trying to fight against in the first place, you're perpetuating racism when you think that your kid is going to be in harm's way only around an immigrant or someone who's black. I have a question. Would you trust your daughter around an immigrant or someone who's black or Donald Trump? Which would you rather? Unmute your microphone. Which would you rather?
Oh, I said neither, but if I had to pick, I would say definitely not.
Definitely not Trump. Okay, so then
definitely not.
So then doesn't that tell you at least to yourself that Donald Trump is more of a threat to individuals such as your daughter than you could ever attribute to black people or to immigrants?
Well, no, I don't.
He's literally held civilly liable of abusing a woman. He literally said he would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. He literally bragged about walking to the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent, where two 18-year-olds came out and said there were 4 girls as young as 15 years old in these changing rooms. He's literally protected P3DOs in the Epstein files. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about
if you
like
care about your daughter, you would not support Trump. You would not defend this guy.
Okay, I'm not defending him. I'm not. So, what I am defending is like my daughter's. Let's say she's out, like you see these things on like subways or just walking. People are shoving people, white people, for no reason, just to make a point.
You have never seen that. You have never seen that.
It's videos.
Oh my god, you saw a random video on the internet. Oh my god, dude, you have never experienced that in your life.
No,
none of
yes.
I doubt anyone in this live stream has ever experienced that in their life. You're being ridiculous. That is a random internet video. You cannot judge reality on a random internet video.
Maybe I chose the wrong forum to try to talk about this and just show my concern. I'm being honest. I'm just trying to like let you know what my concern was. If you could do me a favor and explain how you said it perpetuates racism, me just thinking this way, could you break that down for me?
Yeah, I'll tell you because
I'd like to learn something.
You have this idea, this irrational fear that people who are immigrants or people who are black are a danger to your kid.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what I would consider racism.
But I mean, just some of this new stuff, like the girl getting like stabbed on the subway, and or the light rail or whatever it is.
Dude, you are being propagandized by the social media. Okay, you need to literally go touch grass to literally not just take into consideration one anecdote, to take into consideration the overall data, look at proportions. Don't just look at specifically one random video and make a generalization based on that. And if you care about groups that are greater likelihood in terms of harming people, you should probably look at men before you look at immigrants or people who are black, okay? Because men commit over 90% of violent crimes, okay? So if you want to look at men as a whole in that way, maybe you could view that as an argument, but you can't make this argument specifically about immigrants or people who are black. It's a ridiculous argument.
Okay, I honestly, the reason I'm on here right now is because I think that way too, and that's why I wanted to get a second opinion. But the other thing, but when I told you about that video,
you think what way too?
I think the same way you. I think more like what you just said. But
can you specify?
Yeah, I don't think that that's normal. I feel like I've been propagandized personally. Okay. Yes. But I wanted to break some of this down to make sure that I'm not tripping out. You know what I mean? And like I said, that video I've seen a few of these videos, a few different lives, and the ones about Carmelo Anthony, and then the one that had 1 million different likes and like about 500,000 comments hating on white people. Those are the ones that, like, when I saw that number, it concerned me. I was like, that's a lot of people thinking the same way. on this when it's obviously this video is not the right way to think. That Carmelo, that, like, obviously Carmelo stabbing someone is not the right reaction. It gave me pause, is what I'm saying, and it made me start thinking a different way. And I honestly, Parker, I've watched you for like 4 years, and I vote left, and I felt like this would be a good conversation for you to have with me, and so I appreciate so far what you've been saying.
Yeah, and I think you should rethink this, because I do think that this is obviously stuff that you would probably disagree with, right? Given that you think about it a little bit further, and also just for 1 second, be like, that is literally that one time that you've ever thought about that. That is a daily basis of being a Black American, right? Of dealing with the level of racism and hate that people who are Black deal with in this country from people who are white all the time. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't.
That is such a small fraction, minuscule portion of what someone who's a typical Black person is going to experience as a daily basis in this country.
Yeah. But I hope that they're not trying to, like, all of a sudden just switch roles. That's how I felt. I was like, are we trying to switch roles now? And I was like, because I've never thought that way. I've always been fighting for Black people and immigrants to, like, just everyone get along. But then when I felt like they were not fighting for what we were trying to go all get together with, it felt like it was all against us.
Okay, so here's the issue. You can't generalize people based upon what you see on social media.
Fair enough.
You can't look at social media videos and then make generalizations of entire communities based upon that, in the same way that you would never do that for people who are white. So one thing I would say is that you need to look over your own preconceived biases as it relates to all of these scenarios, because I think it's impacting your cognitive processes without you realizing it. I think you're not intentionally trying to do this in your head, but inevitably speaking, right, because you have these preconceived biases, it's coming out this way. So what I would say is just like, try to critically think about that. Think about whether or not it's something that is like the internet, right? Because of the nature of internet, because of the nature of like how people on the internet will try to like use the most extreme, radicalized things that could possibly be happening in order to be able to garner attention or views, right? You're going to see the most extreme things on the internet comparative to what typically happens in person, right? So you need to be able to see a differentiating factor between what's on the internet and what's going to be in person.
Fair. No, I agree with that. And it just the numbers were so high, it was bothering me, and I'm not. And that's really where I was coming from in the first place. But I appreciate this conversation, Parker.
Right.
I do. I really do.
For sure.
All right. Thank you.
Alrighty. Let's go on to the next individual.